Our ongoing coverage of the coronavirus pandemic continues. Welcome to Western Mass News at 6 on this Wednesday. I'm Chris Pisano. Here's a quick look at the latest headlines. Officials confirming that 2 more veterans have died due to the coronavirus at the Holyoke Soldiers' Home, totaling now 15 deaths, with at least 6 due to the virus. Today, the state announced an independent investigation of the home is now underway. The state also reporting more than 1,100 new cases of the virus and 33 new deaths. Time now for a story you'll see only here on Western Mass News, the Holyoke Soldiers' Home. After the number of veteran deaths climbs to 15, 6 of those deaths testing positive for COVID-19. The governor speaking at a press conference in Worcester about that very issue. And Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo getting answers for us. She joins us now live from there with the latest and with an exclusive interview with one of the Soldier Home's nurses. Audrey?
The governor was fairly tight-lipped at the press conference today about the situation at the Holyoke Soldiers' Home, saying he expects all the details to come out in the independent investigation being led by attorney Mark Perlstein. Meanwhile, a nurse within the facility who works at the Holyoke Soldiers' Home says that staffing shortages and moving patients around within the building may have contributed to the virus's spread.
We don't have enough staff to take care of the veterans the way they should be.
More than a dozen veterans are dead at the Holyoke Soldiers' Home, and the nurses who care for the veterans are working while trying to avoid catching the virus themselves. Joan Miller, a nurse at the facility, says it's not easy because the limited staff must work on different units every day.
You're on my unit one day, which we're free of it as of now that I know of, and the next day you're down in the unit that is blowing up with it. And then the very next shift, you're back on my unit.
She also claims that many veterans are being moved out of their normal rooms to different parts of the building. She says because of this, their living quarters became more cramped.
The beds are right on top of each other. They can't get to their bathrooms.
Miller says this was exacerbated by a lack of adequate personal protective equipment given to the staff.
They did not get the proper PPE in time.
Now the home is under investigation by an attorney hired by the state. At a press conference today, Governor Charlie Baker didn't give a timeline of when families would see the findings.
I don't want him to rush this. I want him to get it right. And I think I speak for every single family and every single person who worked there and everybody who cares about that place, that at the end of the day, what we really want is the right answer.
Baker also wouldn't speak to whether or not criminal charges are expected to arise.
I don't anticipate anything other than this point, other than a thorough investigation by a trained professional who has an outstanding reputation, who I believe will give us what we want, which is answers to what happened there and what went wrong and why, and what we can do to make sure it doesn't happen again.
I'm living alone. My family's not with me. It is tough.
For nurses like Miller, answers can't come quickly enough.
My daughter made an outline of my grandson's hand, and that's for me to hold whenever I miss him. And that is a very poor substitute for my grandson.
State officials answering questions about the Holyoke Soldiers' Home say that they've now tested every resident for COVID-19 and that they expect the results back within 24 hours. They say they've moved on to testing all of the staff at this time. And they also say that they're working on establishing quarantine and isolation zones within the building. Live in Worcester, Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.
Audrey, thank you for that live report. A surge in cases expected to increase over the next 2 weeks here in the Bay State. Now, here's a look at how things stand as of today. The State Department of Health reporting there are 7,738 confirmed cases of COVID-19. That's up just over 1,118 from yesterday. There are 33 new deaths for a total of 122 in the state. There have been 682 hospitalizations and 51,738 tests. Breaking things down county by county, out east, Suffolk and Middlesex counties, both around 1,600 cases. Here in Western Mass, Hampden County is up to 475 cases. Hampshire County has 81, Franklin County 72, and Berkshire County has 183. A UPS driver in West Springfield is sounding the alarm after he claims the company isn't doing enough for drivers out on the road. The mayor confirms to us that a UPS driver did test positive for COVID-19. Western Mass News reporter Sarah Granelli is live for us in Westfield. Sarah?
Chris, we reached out to UPS, who says they are following the CDC guidelines, but that employee argues they're just not doing enough.
They just aren't doing enough to protect us.
Danny Arlen has worked for the United Parcel Service for 20 years. Day by day, he delivers packages to people's homes. Now he's voicing his concerns exclusively to Western Mass News by video chat after a fellow employee tested positive for the coronavirus at the facility in West Springfield.
Thursday, he got tested and was told to stay home until we knew more. And then on Monday, it was reported, he reported to me that he did test positive. And, the company just didn't take all of that seriously.
West Springfield Mayor Will Reichelt confirmed to Western Mass News that a UPS driver did test positive for the coronavirus. The mayor sent a statement that says UPS has taken the proper precautions to prevent other employees' exposure, and they have complied cleaning as well as notification requirements. That's something Arlen says hasn't happened.
The other thing that they said they were doing was cleaning our trucks, the interior of our trucks and our building on a daily basis, and that's just not true. They're just not doing that.
Western Mass News reached out to UPS to see what their protocol is when an employee gets the virus. Here's a statement that reads in part, when appropriate employees who work directly in the vicinity of the employee who tested positive are notified that they may have been exposed and that they should pay special attention to potential emergence of symptoms. And when asked Arlen about that, he said,
they've yet to send a message to tell anybody that this driver was positive.
Arlen says the company has given them some supplies to keep their trucks clean, but he says it's not enough.
If we're not protected and they're not doing more to protect us, that this is going to spread throughout my building and I could take it home to my family.
Arlen says he just wants the company to take this more seriously since so many of the drivers are out in the community. Live in Westfield, Sarah Gurnelli, Western Mass News.
Sarah, thank you for that live report. A new 24/7 emergency shelter just opening this afternoon at Northampton High School. The temporary shelter is working to keep staff and shelter residents safe from the coronavirus. Western Mass News reporter Lindsay Kane has more.
It's really a wonderful testament to what a community can do and how they can pull together in times of crisis.
City officials in Northampton have been working for days to open up a temporary 24/7 emergency shelter on Wednesday at Northampton High School to help stop the spread of COVID-19 and give the homeless population a place to go during the pandemic. Lindsay Sabadosa, state representative for the 1st Hampshire District, speaking to Western Mass News by phone.
Well, it's really important that people in the community have a place to go, both during the day and to sleep at night.
2 overnight shelters on Grove Street and Center Street are closing because the facilities are too small to keep up with social distancing guidelines, requiring people to be at least 6 feet apart. But Northampton High School has 48 beds, all 6 feet apart from one another, for an expected number of 45 people. All staff and shelter residents will be screened before being allowed to come inside, and then from there, all shelter residents will be screened twice a day for any symptoms of coronavirus.
We're really just trying to keep symptomatic people away from asymptomatic people and do the best we can to stop the spread of transmission, while also making sure that people have access to basic rights like housing and food.
Sabadosa says that the screening process is in accordance with the state health guidelines.
It's definitely taking a temperature. But of course, a temperature is just one of the many symptoms. So there is, the hospitals have released a list of things that people should check for, and that's what, folks will be doing.
The center is actively looking for volunteers. For more information, head to our website. That's westernmassnews.com. In Northampton, Lindsay Kane, Western Mass News.
And for more coverage on the coronavirus emergency as it continues to develop, log on to our free Western Mass News streaming app. Now at 6, Chicopee police are asking for the public's help in finding a missing 57-year-old man. Michael Bergeron, who is right now shown on your screen, has been missing since 8:30 this morning. He's described as being 6'1", 175 pounds with brown hair and green eyes. Police say Bergeron may be operating a red 2020 Toyota with Mass license plate 996CP1. If you see the vehicle or Bergeron, Chicopee Police asking you to contact them.
We had some sunshine early on, and that allowed our temperatures to rise through the 40s and into the low 50s. We hit 52 in Springfield, 53 in Westfield, and 50 degrees in Orange. But we have started to see some of those clouds moving on in. This is in advance of our coastal system that's going to bring us a couple of showers late tomorrow afternoon into the evening and throughout Friday. The good thing is this isn't going to be a good soaker of a rain. If you want heavy rain, you have to actually head out east where they're going to be dealing with some really strong winds, some pretty high waves at coastal locations. For us, this is just a run-of-the-mill shower action as you go into Thursday and into Friday. And that's exactly what Futurecast shows. Watch as we build those clouds, thicken those up as we go into the afternoon. Light showers through Thursday evening, and then the heavier rain arrives after dark and then into Friday morning. You see some of the deeper shades of green. That's going to be indicative of a little bit heavier downpours, and then we continue to see some of that shower into Friday. Increasing clouds, middle 30s. Tomorrow, returning into the upper 40s, low 50s. I think most of the rain holds off until after noontime, but we're mostly cloudy the entire day, also turning breezy with winds gusting up to 30 miles per hour. Full look at the 7-day forecast, including a nice weekend ahead. Details on that in just a few. Chris?